Hello, my name is Damon Friedman, co-founder and president of SOF Missions. As a 20-year veteran within Special Operations, I've gone through many challenges due to my military service and time in combat. We felt called to start SOF Missions to serve our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, focusing on suicide prevention and resiliency. Our mission at SOF Missions is to empower warriors to find purpose and be resilient. Since 2011, when we started the organization, almost 3 million men and women have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the scars of war take a toll on their psychological, physical, social, and spiritual health. Many veterans feel a sense of hopelessness and a loss of purpose when they return to civilian life. They feel isolated and alone, unable to reconnect. And in the greatest of tragedies, over 20 veterans lose all hope and take their own lives. Our goal at SOF Missions is to provide veterans the tools and resources so that they don't become a statistic. We offer a unique approach to combating veteran suicide through a whole health intradisciplinary model. The Be Resilient program is a 4-pillar methodology that addresses the areas of psychological, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. We provide care through 3 delivery methods: medical clinics, retreats, and educational training. Since we started back in 2011, we have been able to reach veterans in all 50 states and have served over 3,000 veterans through the Be Resilient program. Being resilient is a multifaceted and complex issue. We know that to find a lasting solution, we have to address the whole warrior. Many challenges cannot be solved by providing the treatments and modalities of just one component, but by tackling them all. Now, we've expanded our services to include law enforcement and first responders. Together, we can make a lasting impact in the lives of warriors across the nation. To learn more, visit our website at sofmissions.org.
For your post assignment, all units proceed to your post assignment.
Woo! All right. MisFitNation. This is not a restart. This is a reload. A new season. A new year. A new level. Season 6 starts tonight. And 2026 doesn't ease in. It gets kicked open by the Tuesday Crew. Last season, they built a foundation. We light the fuse because this year is about action, ownership, and stepping fully into who you were built to be. No excuses over. No limits accepted. No holding back. This is the year we stop waiting and start moving. This show isn't just something you listen to. It's something you feel. A weekly reminder that resilience is earned, momentum is created, and greatness, by God, doesn't ask for permission. So stand up, lock in, and make some noise for the launch of a new season, a new year, and a new standard. But first, a new song.
Yeah. Turn it up. This ain't pretty. This is earned. Tuesday Crew. From the bottom where the silence is loud. Learn real quick how to stand in the crowd. Broke bones, broke rules, broke out the cage. Turn hard days into gasoline rage. Back against walls, yeah, scars in the skin. Lost a few battles, but we still ain't been. Talk all you want, we don't need your praise. We've been bleeding true since the early days. If they counted us out, let them count again. We don't fold, we don't break, we don't pretend. From the dirt to the lights, hear the sound. This is how the misfits come around. We're misfit made, hardwired, born this way. Hands still dirty, but we stand our ground. No fake smiles, no safe around. We earn this name, we wear Veteran blood in the veins, no retreat. First responders, one toward the heat. Gold star names, carved deep in the chest. Say them loud. We don't forget. Coaches preaching discipline, mindset steel. Entrepreneurs risking everything real. Authors bleeding ink, musicians grind. Actors chasing dreams they can't rewind. No silver spoons, no hand-me-down fame. Just sleepless nights and the will to remain. If you built it from nothing, you know the pain. That's the misfit code, stay in the flame. Bang! This is for the ones still fighting it. Still standing, still breathing. If the dark starts talking, don't listen. You matter, you're needed. We're misfit made, hardwired, born this way. Hands still dirty, but we stand our ground. No fake smiles, no save around. We earn this name, we wear it proud. We're misfit made, scars on display. Still standing when the smoke fades out. Turn it up, hear that sound. Tuesday crew is in the house.
Woo! Get it, Lacey. Get it, Cagney. The Tuesday Crew.
Hey.
I'm loving the music. That song.
Oh,
is great.
yeah. Hey, the music was great. Music was great. Thanks to our producer for hooking that up for us. I really like it. What a way to bang into 2026, huh?
Oh, yeah. A little boom, and we're there. I love it.
Exactly. So, how was your holidays, Stephen? I haven't talked to you
Well,
since last
Well,
year.
my daughter was sick for Christmas. She had the flu, so we stayed home. New Year's, she pretty much recovered, and we just had a nice quiet night, brought in New Year together, my wife and I. And of course, we both work retail, so the husband stopped working.
Good deal.
Worked the day before, worked the day after.
We took off and went to Ohio and got to see my son and daughter-in-law and my two grandkids, Jackson and Wyatt. And just had a really good time up there, and got home and been working. And so far, it's been good to go, man. I'm excited to get after it. I'm excited to see what 2026 has for us.
It's going to be a good year. I can feel it.
It is. It is going to be a good year. Well, what do you say I introduce our first guest of 2026?
Yes,
All
Bring it
right.
on.
Well, we're gonna get him in here in just a minute. And tonight, the Tuesday Crew, we're honored to welcome a U.S. Army National Guard veteran, Kevin Odom. His journey spans military service, long-term recovery, and leadership and behavioral health care. He's drawing from lived experience and clinical expertise. So, he's got both going for him there. And he works every day to help others heal. And he's helping them rebuild and find not only wellness in the moment, but lasting wellness. And we're going to dive into that this evening. And this is going to be a conversation about service beyond the uniform and leadership rooted in integrity. So without any further ado, let's get Kevin in here.
Good evening, Kevin. How are you?
Good evening, Kevin.
Oh man, good evening, and I appreciate the beautiful intro there.
Hey, you are more than welcome. I can't take credit for that. There's a program we all got on our computer now that I just got to tell it what to write, and it writes it. And but yes, it did a good job. And I tell you what, it outlines a lot of good things and a lot of good things about what you're doing. But why don't you tell us the rest of your story?
All right, so we'll start at the beginning. 3.5, 4 years. I think it was about 3 years and 5 months to be exact in the Army National Guard, stationed in Laurinburg. And then when I got out of AIT and basic, they sent me to Laurinburg, and then Laurinburg put me back on active duty orders, and I was stationed at Fort Bragg until I got into a whole bunch of stupid stuff, done a lot of dumb stuff, and then fast forward in 2012 is when this journey that I've been on, that I'm currently on, started. So in fact, the 17th of this month will be 13 years as far as long-term recovery. I've been in the field since in the mental health and substance use field since January of 2019. I've had the privilege and honor of serving everybody from those who are well off to the homeless, to the veterans, to active duty veterans, to I mean anybody in between, you name it. And of course, you are right as far as trying to help others one day at a time. Even to this day, outside of my current role, I do run a podcast. This is some of our sponsors back here. This is our main blanket back here, right? It's the One Moment Podcast, and so we are on 43 different platforms and trying to push it up to I think about 10 more platforms by I'll say within the next, by the end of the first quarter of 2026, we'll be on 10, probably 10 other platforms.
Awesome. That is great. And hey, hopefully tonight we get you some new listeners.
Absolutely.
some new listeners, some new subscribers. Yeah. And I think it's amazing what you're doing. I don't know. What do you think, Steve? I don't think I have the mental capacity to. I don't think that I could deal well with. I'm so screwed up that I don't think I could help people recover.
Oh, I was going to say you're having a hard enough time having a conversation right now.
Hey, let's start off 2026 buffering as normal, okay?
Okay.
Oh wow, yeah, no, I think for me, I get that a lot, especially from people who don't work in mental health and substance use. The issue that I think I don't want to say issue for me. I think it just boils down to the fact that in the back of my mind, I know that we're all people, regardless of what our background, regardless of whether we went to Iraq or didn't, whether we went to Somalia or didn't, now Venezuela or didn't, what have you. And at the core of that, we all need help. We're all one big human family, and we all bleed the same red blood. And that's really where the core of everything that I believe falls at.
Okay, well, yeah, and we are all one big family, and yeah, I think you touched on something right there. If people would just wrap their head around it, that hey, we're all in this together. We get more accomplished if we don't fight one another. If good words go further than bad words. Whatever. I think that we would be better off as a people.
And I think even if we just stop, listen, and learn a little bit from people you meet and you talk to, you're helping people and helping them, heal. And I was watching some of your videos, and me, with what I do for a living, I meet people that are out there, and sometimes just opening a conversation with them. I had a gentleman at my counter for 25 minutes, a man that didn't want to tell me a story, didn't want to talk to me. All of a sudden, he was going off for 20 minutes, and we had a conversation. I had a crowd of people in my shop, and I'm just standing there talking to this one gentleman that didn't want to talk to me because he wasn't in the mood. You reach out to one, you get that one mindset going, and sometimes you help, sometimes you don't. But you got to be able to open up, and you have to be able to help. And because, like you said, we're all through the same blood. It's all red.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is indeed. So, Kevin, you talked about your military service, and you talked about your recovery. I'm taking it was both substance abuse and alcohol, or just one or the other, or
Yeah, it was alcohol and anything that will alter my mood. It's everything in between opiate pain pills to methamphetamines, morphine to benzodiazepines, THC, cocaine, crack. I had a stint to do with crack too. Hallucinogens. I mean, there's not much I didn't do.
I understand, but first of all, kudos to you for laying all that down. I know that probably that there's a lot of hard work involved in that. But like we explained, you took it a step further and said, "Hey, I'm recovering. Let's help other people recover." So, uh, just how did you get into that?
And
So it's
and the
interesting.
question is, what's harder, recovering or helping others?
Oh, I love the question. So to answer your question first, Mr. Cagney, I think it's a toss up because I think it depends on the person I'm trying to help. And then at the same time, is my mentality right for that day? You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I think it's a toss up because if I'm not centered with self, then how can I be of service to others? How can I serve others? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, and so that's where it boils down at for me. And I have a routine that I get into that I do every morning. Uh, and that helps me to be centered. That helps me to remain centered with myself, mindful throughout every moment of the day so that I can go through and be of service to and do my job as a productive citizen of society. Um, and how did I get into it? So it's interesting. I've been prayed on. I've had, hands laid on me. I've had psychiatrists prescribed to me all these, crazy medications. Um, I've been to church, given my life over. I've been baptized more times than I can count. It was just, just numerous things, right? I would hold money, or tell family and friends like, "Hey, I need you to hold my money so I can stay, so I can not touch it." Uh, it was just one thing right after another that I tried, and I would even switch up, right? Like, okay, well, I have a problem with this, but not this, and then a month or two later, well, I have a problem with this, but let me switch back over to this. And I heard another man, and he told me my story, and it was the first time ever anybody told me about me, uh, and they didn't talk to me about me. They told me only about themselves. And I heard my story for the first time ever. Like I identified 90% with everything that he had and that he done and the way he thought, the way he felt. When he spoke about how he had arrived, right? Just that phrase, I had arrived. Well, when I went into the military, I went into the military for the wrong things, right? The right things. Okay, it was the right reasoning, but I had my reasons flip-flopped, right? I went in there because it was all about discipline, right? I needed discipline,
Mhm.
but I didn't know I needed spiritual discipline. I didn't know I needed the mental health discipline that I have today. And so if I would have had both of them flip-flopped, my spiritual and mental health discipline, then I would have had, the military. I'd still be in the military and be having a blast with it. My personal thought process on that one. And when I heard my story, getting back to that young man, when I heard my story through him, I immediately knew that's what I wanted to do. Like I immediately felt this passion to help others, and I can't explain it. I don't know where it came from. I had people then told me that I was full of it. I didn't know what I was thinking about. I didn't know what I was talking about. I would never be a therapist. I would never be sober. I would never do any of the stuff that I'm doing now. And 13 years later, one day at a time, here I am.
Awesome, awesome. It sounds like a wild journey.
Well, no, you are right. And one of the things I always tell people, it's always the journey that matters. Is never the end game.
And what I believe in your situation, I could read a book and tell you, this is what I learned, this is what I did. You lived it, and now you're helping fix it. You're not saying I went to school for this, because you know what, you live this, and now you're helping other people live through it, and that's better than anything else, because you know firsthand what they're going on. You're not making it up in your head. Oh, you're probably feeling this. No, you're feeling this, and this is what you're going to feel later as you get better. So that probably helps people a lot more than going to a doctor or somebody who's gone to school for 100 years to be a psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever. Because you lived it and you're helping people.
Yeah, no, and I think I think that's so I think you are right. Now, research supports the idea that people who don't use and are not in recovery can be as just amazing therapists as people who are in do the recovery lifestyle. Now, what I have seen, though, to go back to what you just said, I think it gives me I think it makes it easier for me to empathize, because if I can't empathize, then I can't truly be of genuine help to an individual, right? I don't do my job because I get paid a lot. I don't get paid a lot. I think I should be making more, but I do it because I have that empathy for others, that compassion. So I think I think I think that's the experience makes it easier to empathize with somebody else and just take it from their perspective.
Yes,
and you understand a lot better what they did, what they're going through, and that also helps. That's what I was getting at.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can learn that from a book. You can't learn what people are going through, but you lived it firsthand, and now you're helping with that.
Oh,
So
yeah. 100 no, and I think you're right. I hear it all the time from patients, from people that I work with. They will look at me and their first words out of their mouth, whether it's after a group or even a one-on-one session, they'll be like, "Kev, there's something about you. You get me. You get me." And I'm like, I do. It's empathy, man. I get your perception. I don't ever disclose my history with them, but yeah.
Right. You don't need to, though. Yeah, and that's also a good thing. You don't have to say, "Hey, I was there," but you were there, and you know what they're going through. So that's good.
And I bet you, in dealing with addicts, that that your BS meter probably goes off pretty quick if they try to pull the wool over your eyes, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, because we've all been there. we've all been there. It's like, yeah, be like, I already know that you're craving, you're just wanting to go so you can go buy whatever. And I mean, you can't stop a patient. This is something that I help new. When you talk about leadership, and I am a certified clinical supervisor through the Substance Use Board of North Carolina. Now, let me do preface this. Anything that we do say on this show, and even on my show, my boards do not approve or support or not approve. My employer or anybody I know does not support or does not approve or not approve anything. Everything I say is my personal opinion. I will use clinical knowledge or expertise to share information and not to give clinical advice.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do want to preface that, but no, you are absolutely 100% right with that. And one of the things that for me, I am grateful for. I had a situation happen with an individual who was a medically discharged Marine, and he was having it's what I call a PTSD moment. People literally were accusing him of using cocaine, right? Oh man, you're having a cocaine psychosis. And I mean, they were treating him as like he was a bad dude, right? Like a bad person. And one of the things that I realized when I stepped into the room, where you have 5 people in this little old tiny bitty room, and you got a guy who used to be front line in a corner. No wonder he's tripping out. It's not cocaine. Like, hold on, let's clear the room for a moment. Like, come on, like all I need is one or two people in the room. And so it's being able to teach, the supervisees and the people that I mentor, just that basic knowledge, right? Of what is, empathetic listening. What is you putting yourself in that person's shoes? What does that look like? How do you determine what is drug use versus PTSD, right? And it's just
Mhm.
is taking the bull by the horns and being willing to be on the front lines with that every day.
Oh, okay. All right. And yeah, I can understand a PTSD attack looking like cocaine psychosis. I mean, yeah, I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we have questions coming in already from our audience. If you're ready, Hurling Liz wants to know, how has your personal recovery journey shaped the way you lead and care for others? Thank you, Hurling Liz, for that.
That is a phenomenal, phenomenal question. I love it. I was actually talking to one of my supervisees over the weekend about it. One of the things that I feel like this is my personal here, and I'm gonna mix it in with some of my professional or clinical personal ideals here. Because of the empathic listening, because of having that experience and having an idea of what's going on, right? Having that kind of that foundation. I look at it like this: we have a healthcare system based on it's basically a two-tier system, right? Qualitative versus efficiency. Well, in an efficient system, is get them in, get them out, get them in, get them out, and that is great if you want to maximize profit. And I get that 1000%. I get that. I get that the VA can't serve without making money, right? I get that hospitals and opioid treatment programs and mental health therapists can't serve without having to make money. I get that. And I think if we maximize efficiency, we're losing quality, right? We're losing the quality of care. What I do my best to do every day that I am working and every day that I am serving others, I try to have a balance of efficiency while also focusing on that quality of care. And
Hmm.
what does that look like? Well, there's this theory that in the field that says never do more than the patient. Well, I disagree with that. Why do I disagree with that? This is a personal opinion here, because I might be directly connected to the VA, right? And if I use a veteran, for example, I might have, you know, people on the inside of the VA. I can pick up a phone call and say, "Hey, I need to get this person an appointment, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Can you fax me over some information?" Versus having the patient have to call the customer service number, which I cannot stand the customer service numbers. I'm just being straight with
Hmm.
you. And so, like, it's me, 10,000 pound telephone, and doing the heavy lifting for the person. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And
Hmm.
so I and because I am more connected, I will do more work than the patient, just because it's providing quality of care. I know something that that individual doesn't. And it's getting them connected, is getting them connected to the resources in their local area. I mean, that's really what it is focused on what are the needs of the person versus what does the system tell me I need to do at a bare minimum. Does that make
Yes. Yes. It goes back to the military. I tell young soldiers all the time, you only have to do three things to be successful in the military: be in the right place at the right time in the proper uniform. You can, if you do those three things, you're going to be a success. Now, it's those things that you do above that that people are going to notice. People are going and I think, I think if you show to your patients that you care that that much more or however much more and are willing to help them and really care about their recovery, I think they'll pick up on that. And I do believe it'll help them out.
No, I mean, absolutely. I've always been of the idea since I've been practicing, is the system says that I need to do substance use therapy, right? Well,
Hmm.
let's look at what substance use touches on. Well, and let's look at what PTSD touches on. It impacts career, it impacts nutrition, it impacts finances, it impacts family, it impacts, you know, whatever you want, education, right? Am I
Hmm.
just going to focus on the cocaine use, or am I going to focus on, hey, are you compliant with medications? Or are you compliant with the VA? Are you compliant with your psychiatrist? Or am I going to say, hey, and I do this with people all the time. I hear you need some financial, you're having some financial stressors. What if I give you a referral to vocational rehab? It's me identifying that and not waiting for the person to say, hey, can you help me with the finances? I need help.
Maybe it's just that little nudge that they need.
Yeah.
We all need those from time to time.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. 100% agree.
Okay, next question. Fell from the sky on ground. Fell from sky on. Okay, sorry. You said you got in trouble in Fayetteville. That is very surprising for a soldier stationed there. What could you have done? Thank you for
Man,
that question.
yeah. Whew. I haven't been asked that question in a hot minute. So back, listen, I joined the service because I needed discipline because I was in active addiction and I needed discipline to stop me from killing myself. Um, and so when I joined the military, it was for the right reasons. I just had discipline, the forms of discipline flip-flopped, right? So I stayed sober for a little while. And then when I was in that mental blank spot, I was in Fort Bragg making buttloads of money. I mean, I had the world in the palm of my hands. I had arrived. And so when that young man said, "Hey, I had arrived," I knew what he was talking about. I was stationed at Fort Bragg, and making a killing. And it just ended up one thing led to another. Money led to, oh, well, you know what? One blunt ain't going to hurt. Or, hey, you know what? One benzodiazepine isn't going to hurt. And the benzo could be a Xanax, Valium, whatever, it was at that point in time. Or, you know what? Cocaine is not, just one line of cocaine ain't going to hurt. Or that led to many blackouts, to being late, to, I mean, literally, there were times where I never showed up for formation, just because like I literally was in a blackout, right? And I would black out and uh end up in my bed at my home, where when I'm supposed to be stationed at Fort Bragg, and don't even remember how I got to the house.
Damn.
Yeah, right. So I wasn't the best. The there at the end, I did a lot of stuff that was just absolutely insane. But what I'm grateful for is that experience helped me to be the person I am today. And so, even though I wasn't the best soldier at the end of my run, today I am a huge advocate for everybody, regardless of whatever their background is.
Now, before we get to our next question, I have just a question about your time there at Bragg. How did your Okay? I know you probably got kicked out of the military, but
So it was an honorable discharge. I ended up with an honorable discharge still. Yep.
okay, but yeah, how did your command? Did they try to get you into treatment? Did they try? What did they?
So I did go through multiple treatment programs during my the last year of my service there. Um the last time that I messed up, my company commander, Captain Grabos, he was an I've called and made my amends to him, and all of my folks that I served with, all of my leadership, to the best of my ability. Um The last conversation I remember having with him is he sat me down in his office and he was like, Odom, you had this much cocaine in your system. My best friend died with half of that amount. And that was what he told me. Like he was I think he was hurt. I mean I could hear it in his voice, like he was hurt.
Mhm.
So they tried to go with me on getting help, but I was one of those that it took more than 1 or 2 treatment programs to complete.
All right. All
Now, do let me preface, I can serve again if I want to. I have asked myself, do I want to go back in? I feel like I am able to serve not just the veterans, but anybody who needs help in the position that I am currently in with the podcast, with my current employer, with everything. So I do a lot of service work for people.
Okay. All right. You gotta go where you're called and where you think that you can make the biggest difference.
Yep.
And again, I applaud you for that. I couldn't do it. I could not do it.
Okay, our next question from Bama Sucks 9. What gaps do you still see in mental health support for veterans and service members? Thank you, Bama Sucks 9, for that.
Well, I think this is my primary, and I think it's going to be probably similar across the board. And I think many people have heard the same thing over and over again is I can't get an appointment with the VA. I need to, have services. I can't just always go to the emergency department for services, for immediate services anyways. And then it's that lack of resources outside of the VA. And how do we bridge that gap? Not every area or not every provider on an outpatient basis is it's a word I'm looking for, but it's basically contracted. That's the best word that fits. They're not every outpatient provider is contracted with the VA to be able to serve VA people, right? And so that is a huge barrier. And I think this is probably me throwing something in there that I'm not 100% sure of. I'd say I'm more like 50-50 here. Do I think all outpatient providers know that they can get contracted with the VA to be able to serve the veteran population? I don't think people know that. I honestly don't. I actually learned about it from a she is some type of VSA or something of that. I think VSA or something. She's out of the Rocky Mount area of North Carolina, if I remember correctly. And she was telling me about how she works with outpatient providers and clinics and helps them to do the documentation to get contracted so that they can serve veterans and the VA will pay them, will reimburse them. I thought that was actually pretty interesting. And that's what I learned about it. Yeah. That's the biggest gap and barrier. Another gap and barrier, and I think this is going to be going back to that cocaine versus PTSD example from earlier. I think it's lack of knowledge or lack of expertise to serve people who are who are considered veterans. And the reason I say that is because I've seen it where people don't feel competent in doing certain things because it takes expertise, right? It's just like substance use. Not everybody's fit for to serve substance use. Not everybody is fit to serve borderline personality. Not everybody is fit to serve people who are inmates and some of that population. So I think that's another huge barrier too.
Yeah, that would be, and big barrier.
Yep.
Jason on Facebook Love is a different animal. Been there. What's the positives did you gain from it?
IOP is a different animal.
IOP.
There, yeah.
Sorry.
What was the positives that you gained from it? So I didn't do a IOP. That's not what happened for me. I did a residential treatment program. The last one that I went to was, and I'm gonna call them out. So if you are in North Carolina, or if you are looking for a 30-day treatment program, they just opened up a females facility too. It is called Samaritan Colony out of Rockingham, North Carolina. Phenomenal 30-day program. They also are have outpatient like basically sober living houses. They also have those. So what I can tell you is the feedback that I've had from people who have went through IOP. And the IOPs that we serve is in the Winston-Salem area. You have a couple of them: Charlie Health, Novant Health, Old Vineyard Behavioral Health, and I think Atrium Wake Forest Baptist are the four primaries. I haven't heard anything negative about either of those places. It's only been great feedback, and that's for both their IOP and their PHP programs.
Okay. Now, just a quick one here. What about, I know a lot of people when they quit drinking, quit drugs, or whatever, they quit cold turkey and they say, I'm going to use stone discipline and determination, and I'm not going to drink, or I'm not going to do drugs, or whatever. Do you have any figures on people who do that with therapy, or people who do that without therapy? Because there's a lot of people out there that might just quit drinking and never step in and do therapy. Are there any figures out there about success rates or anything like that?
So I want to preface this, okay? I am a qualitative person. I am more of a qualitative person than a quantitative person. And I say that to answer your question here. What I have seen and experienced personally and professionally is whatever form of recovery works, like do it, right? If it's methadone treatment, do it. If it's Suboxone, do it. If it's going to a residential program and then boom, not doing it again, do it. If it's 12-step program, do it. If it's teen challenge, do it, right? If it's even doing it, what you say, cold turkey, if you're severe or moderate to severe alcohol drinker or benzodiazepine user, I wouldn't suggest stopping on your own without immediate help. That's for sure. But if I've seen people, I know people personally who were able to just stop drinking and keep it moving. Like, I mean, it's whatever is, whatever shoe fits, wear it.
Okay. All right.
Okay, next question. I love the boobies. Want to know. See that?
I love the name.
How can organizations build truly trauma-informed systems, not just policies? Thank you for that question. I love the boobies.
I got cold chills on that one. Love the boobies. Just so you know. So that is a great question, and what I feel like because you're right, that is a issue, and so that's going to be a third primary gap to one of the questions that was asked earlier. What do I see as far as some of the gaps with the VA, with serving veterans? And it's not just veterans. I'd also say anybody related to trauma, rape, molestation, anything like that. Doesn't matter. Okay, whatever type of trauma you say. What I feel like is education and training, right? Because I've been in situations where I've had to make decisions, clinical decisions, not where I currently work at, but at previous organizations, where I was dealing with the psychosis, active psychosis, in-depth history of trauma, and there were concerns for safety of others immediately, not from myself, but from some of the staff that I was over and that I supervised. And I made the clinical decision rather than calling law enforcement to call the mobile crisis unit. And as a result of doing that, we were able to get the individual help because I saw from my professional experience, right, was this is not a safety concern. This is more of this guy needs help, right? He's in the active psychosis, he's paranoid, like all of these things. So why send him to jail when he's not going to get help? Why call law enforcement unless I absolutely know without a shadow of a doubt there's a safety concern, right? Um, and so I myself, the individual's therapist at that time, and we got together, we made that clinical decision to call the mobile crisis unit and get them help. And it was just because of our expertise, our knowledge, our training. And I mean, think about it, right? That's trauma informed care versus, oh my gosh, I'm a freak out. I need to call 911 because I'm scared. And I think that's where, a lot of people, in healthcare, again, this is what I think right here. This is not professional. This is what I think. We say we want to serve people, but yet don't really understand or grasp the idea of how do we serve. I've had people threaten me and stuff, and it's like, this isn't them talking, this is the trauma, and that's okay. And they come back, the next day or week or two later, and I'm their best friend. And it's just because it's having that knowledge and that education, and that informs me on how to work with people, on how and where to meet this individual where that person is at that moment. So that's what I say as far as trauma-informed care versus trauma-informed policies. Trauma-informed policies will say in that moment, for an example, oh my gosh, people are freaking out. My whole staff is scared. Call law enforcement, get this man, get law enforcement here for, what have you. Well, they're going to take him to jail. What help is going to be provided? He needs detox. He's in a crisis. He needs psychiatric medications potentially. I don't know. I'm not a medical person, right? But I'm just kind of running down some ideas, right? He needs psychiatric medications. So it's really understanding the macro picture here versus the micro. It's not just a one-on-one approach here. We need a systems approach, and it's getting those things in play to provide help.
Yeah. Do a little bit of triage and figure out what they need.
Right. All right, Kevin, we've talked a lot the last 48 minutes, and we've talked about a lot about what you do. We haven't actually touched what your podcast is about. You want to tell us about the podcast?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So we are the One Moment Podcast. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Pandora, X, Instagram, Facebook. We're across the board. I think last time we looked at it, it was 43 different platforms because RSS puts it out to Apple and like about 20 something platforms. And then one of those platforms puts it out to like 30 something platforms or 20 something platforms. So on our podcast, we talk about mental health, substance use. We talk about suicide prevention. We talk about anything related to healthcare. So for an example, we had an episode on how mental health and opioid treatment looks and substance use looks in the African American community last February for Black History Month. We did in April or May a episode on ALS and the lack of services for mental health within the medical society there. We've done an episode on straight suicide, suicidal, gaps in the suicide treatment, and found out that there's about a dozen or so countries that criminalize suicide and suicidal ideation, suicidal attempts. So yeah, we talk about everything. Policies and politics as it relates to healthcare. We don't take sides in politics, but that's yeah, I mean, that's kind of what our focus is.
Okay, fantastic.
Awesome. I'm going to have to check it out.
Well, I was
Absolutely.
watching clips earlier. That's why we've talked about a lot of things. We haven't talked about your podcast. Well, I mean, get him on about that.
No, I watched a few clips that were out there on TikTok, and I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, we got one more question. One more question for you. Jojo the Chimp wants to know, what advice would you give to someone early in recovery who wants to serve others? Thank you for that question, Jojo.
That is a awesome question. I love that question too. All of these questions are phenomenal.
Hey,
we
our
have some
listeners
great
are
listeners.
amazing. Our
Yeah.
listeners are amazing.
Right. Absolutely. Wow. So what advice do I want to give to someone who's early in recovery and wants to serve others? So I will say, follow your passion, right? Your heart knows, right? I am of the belief that we all know deep down inside, right? Uh what it is that we need to do, what it is that we want to do. I can talk to a therapist all day and I know what my therapist is going to tell me essentially, right? Because it's really deep down inside. I know right from wrong and everything else. And so if you don't follow your passion and you don't follow your heart, right? How are you being authentic with yourself? That is my biggest question. I am a huge believer in authenticity with self. And so like one of the things that I do to help me to maintain that idea that I am still early in recovery, and why do I say that? Even though it's 13 years in January, uh every morning I wake up, it's about 5:30. So I've been sober since 5 or 5:30 that day, right? And so I read a couple of pages of my spiritual books. I do some prayer and meditation, and that helps me to be centered so that I can be reminded that my job and my low life and my mission and my goals is about serving others today. And so I usually say, the moment I open my eyes and the moment I lay down and close my eyes and go to sleep, I think about me at those 2 points, and in between those 2 points, I do everything I can to think about others. And so I follow my passion in between those 2 points every single day, 7 days a week, and that's my passion. I follow my heart. I listen to what it says, and that is my encouragement to anybody who's early in recovery, whether you're 6 months, 2 months, 2 days, or a year or two, doesn't matter. At 5 o'clock, I am early in recovery too, because I'm just waking up. It's a new day.
All right. Sounds great. Stephen,
Jake?
did you have a feel-good story for us this week?
Yes, I did. Would you like me to tell you it?
Yeah. Before we get into wrapping things up, let's talk about our feel-good story of the week.
Well, no, normally we start the show with, fallen heroes, fallen police. I have a story of a trooper from Texas in December came up on an accident and found a 13-year-old girl had a leg amputated. He applied tourniquets, stopped the blood loss, saving the young girl's life. It's not every day you get a story like that from the press. You just hear, cop shot this cop's dead. Trooper Clinton Ranson went out and he saved this little girl's life in an accident. It's not every day you come upon that. It's a great story about a man that, went to a car crash and saved this little girl's life. And it's something that, people should talk about every day. It's not just the bad things you read, not, this one died and this one got shot. This gentleman saved this 13-year-old girl's life.
Kudos to that officer.
He's a police officer. He's not a paramedic. He's not, Jesus. He's a cop. He went and saved her life. I love that.
Protect and serve.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a beautiful story.
That is.
And Kevin, before Jake comes in and asks you questions in a second, I just had something. It's on my mind, and I've been thinking about it for like the last 10 minutes. I had a friend who had a monkey on her back, and she was in jail, and she was in rehab, and she started working with people with the same problems, thinking she was doing better, but that monkey never went away, and she lost her life because of that monkey. Are you able, or when you see people that had that problem, drugs or whatever, do you know if they're actually controlling it or if they're just throwing blinders at people? Because she was doing really good and she was helping people, and then all of a sudden she OD'd and she was dead because she never actually got that monkey off her back. You know,
Hmm.
so she went through rehab. She was in jail. I love to go. I've known her since she was a child, but she died because of that monkey off her back. You know, and she was trying and trying, and it was always there. You know? Can you spot that? Is there a way to actually help people like that?
Well, I will say that from what I do now this is going to be somewhat of a biased question or a biased answer here.
Hmm.
Are we able to see that? I want to say yes and no, and I say that because uh, you know, there's what I believe is subtle changes. All of a sudden, I pay 325 on my car every 2 weeks, so it doesn't matter regardless of whether it's due or not. I'm paying right. All of a sudden, I don't pay that 325 like I typically do. That's a subtle change, right?
Hmm.
Is that something for a red flag? Absolutely, it should be a red flag, right? Potentially, and again, I'm giving you a stupid example, right? I'm giving a stupid example. It's something I need to be aware of, right? And that's just me, how I am, how at least I try to be, anyways. If I'm centered. Now, I also believe that I don't think it's, do the way I look at it, and this is the way I don't take the brain disease model of addiction. I don't follow that unless it's cocaine and methamphetamines. I follow an existential approach to substance use, and so it's always try to assess from the idea of what does this feeling mean, right? If I'm wanting to relapse, what is it about me wanting to relapse and change the way I feel? Like, what is it about that and what is it, what does that tell me? What is that feeling to me? What is that meaning to me, right? And it's digging down into that meaning area, like Viktor Frankl said, right? Looking at our experience, looking at our uh, um, going through and using our experience to help us to understand, to adapt to the current moment or to the changing environment. And for your listeners who don't know, Viktor Frankl is he is one of the best people I've ever studied or read as far as his literature. If he was here in front of me, I'd be kissing the ground he walks on because that's how much respect I have for him. And he lived years in a Jewish Holocaust camp, and he is the father of logotherapy. And he talks about finding meaning in our experience, meaning and hope in our experience. And so you can find his book, Man's Search for Meaning, on Amazon for about $11.50. Read it, pick it up. It's a phenomenal resource for you. So that's my answer to your question. I think, can we stop it? I think so if we're, using our tools and resources. Um, but or can we be aware of it all the time? I mean, again, I think it's goes back to how I first started. Yes and no.
Okay. Like I said, it's
All
just
right.
something that was on my mind because it was life that happened here. That's what I was just thinking about. I had to ask a question.
No,
That's
100. I mean, and it's a great question because life happens, right? Like, my goal isn't to drink today or do drugs today, and right now it's 9 o'clock where I'm at, and got another 3 hours before midnight. For all I know, I could, we can hang up, at the end, and I can go straight to the store and buy a bottle for all I know. I that's not my plan. I'm not. I hope I don't do that. Right.
Right.
But I can't predict. And I don't think I am, because I woke up this morning and I did my little spiritual routine.
Okay.
All right. All right. And we are going to dive right into that real quick. And real quick, Kevin, what are 3 things that Kevin does every day without fail, or his day is not complete?
So I have to pray.
Okay.
I have to read some type of spiritual material, right? Whether
Okay.
it's, it doesn't matter. And the other thing is like I say, between my 2 points, when I wake up and when I go to sleep, between those 2 points, my focus is about serving others.
Okay. Focus on serving others. All right. Well, hey, Misfit Nation, thank you for tuning in this evening, especially, the Tuesday crew. Thank you for the great question. If you want to check Kevin out, go to One Moment Podcast. It's on Instagram. It's on all different kind of platforms. Just look it up, check him out. And I am sure that he would love to have new listeners, new subscribers. And, we love supporting other podcasters from this platform. And one more thing, let's start 2026 off with a bang, with the goal of waking up New Year's morning in 2027. If you don't feel like it, you can do that. Or if you're feeling the darkness, get on that phone, dial 988. Take option 1 if you're a veteran, because I will tell you right now, brothers and sisters, tomorrow will not be as perfect of a day if you're not in it. Misfit Nation, Tuesday crew, we love you.
Kevin, thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank y'all for having me up here.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation Show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.